Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's July 29th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And really, this was mostly sideways action. We had a nice downtrend early, then we took most of it back, and then we just kind of went sideways in a real tight range. Really, this trading day was over by 11 o'clock, and there's just, I mean, there's very little price action, very little, volume in there. Just not much happening. So there's only a few trades today. It won't take long to go through these, but hopefully you were here early this morning. That was your best opportunity, and you may have had a little better looking chart up through here. I mean, this is a nice uptrend, but there's just not any really good setups on my chart. Um, my higher lows and things like that just weren't very good setups. We'll kind of talk about them. But if your chart looked a little different, if you had a little different setup on a few of these, you might you might be able to argue for them. So, um, but they just weren't very good setups on my chart today. So, and I still get a lot of people contacting me about, they're concerned because their chart, their bars don't look like mine. Well, understand that the nature of tick charts are that no two tick charts are going to be exactly alike. You might be able to get yours where it looks almost exactly like mine and real close, but just the nature of tick charts, they're not going to look the same. So they're not like time-based charts where they're static and every chart looks exactly the same. So the fact that your chart is not exactly like mine does not matter and is irrelevant because you can't make it look just like mine. The key is, do you have about the same number of bars and do the patterns look the same? If you have that, you're great. That's all you can ask for. And on your chart, some of the setups might look better than mine, and on my chart, some of the setups might look better than yours. But in the end, we're going to get an equal number of trades, and generally you're going to get the same setups and so forth. But if there's a few trades that might look a little better on your chart, and there's a few that might look a little better on my chart. So just because your chart doesn't look like mine doesn't mean anything. So do not be concerned about it. That seems to just really, people that don't understand tick charts just get infatuated with that issue, and they spend hours and hours trying to figure out why their chart doesn't look like mine. Well, it's never going to look exactly like mine. It's impossible because of the way tick charts work. So just make sure you understand that. But anyway, let's talk about the trades. When I came in, we already had two legs up here. Notice this. We had two pretty much measured legs up, and then we had a little reversal pattern here. I would have liked this pattern better if it was down here. Um, but it wasn't. It was up here, and we actually had some resistance right across there. You can see that. And we had the two legs up, and then we made a first entry long, a second entry long. It failed. It pretty much confirmed this trend line on that failure too, and that's a nice bearish bar. That's a great place to go short. Unfortunately, you don't get a runner on that one. Then it comes back, and you get a little second entry short here. Somebody asked me about this, and I'll tell you exactly what I told them. I would have liked this better if it broke higher because this is an inside bar, and inside bars are not as reliable. But with everything pushing through we already got a reversal pattern, and then everything pushing through the EMA, and you got a new low first entry, then second entry, and that's a relatively bearish bar, and everything's still closing inside that trend line. I'm probably going to take that trade. But just remember that inside bars are not as reliable. So, didn't mean to, I don't know what's going on with my chart. Anyway, I don't know what happened there. But anyway, those inside bars are not as reliable. And you can see it tried to back up here. I struggle with this. Should I trade this or should I not? And it's more of a personal decision because it's not a perfect setup. But when you look at everything that's going on here, the two legs up, and we already had a leg down, and a lot of times that's the center of the pattern. So I would expect that we may try to make a measured leg down like this right here from this point right here. And you can see we actually got a little further than that. So based on that, I'd probably take that trade. But it's a personal decision. It's a little bit risky. I mean, you could almost argue for this one to be green. But I like the trade, and I'd probably take that trade most times. The way this setup looks and the way the overcall context looks, I'd probably even considered going short here on this little breakout pullback short. Except I got a very neutral bar there, and it's not a good signal bar. It does come back right here. The reason I like this one, normally I would say that you don't, and this one's close to being green, but the measured move was way down here. And notice we had an overshoot here, and you don't know if it's an overshoot, but now it's playing underneath the EMA, and it comes back and tests it, and it breaks higher and turns down and goes out the other side. I like going short there, just to try to ride this down to the measured move, and we ended up getting this one more leg down that went even further. To be honest with you, too, I almost like coming back long right here, being that far away from the EMA and riding down that trend channel line. Look how long we've been away from the EMA since way back here. You could argue for that to be green. It's a little aggressive because whenever you start trying to pick bottoms, you're asking for trouble. But if you understand what's going on here, that's probably one, being that far away from the EMA, that may be one that I would consider. And notice you get a failed second entry short here, but that's the first break of this trend channel. And it's not really even a convincing close outside there. But we did push on through it, and you could actually look at that as a second entry long, but I'd be careful going short there after that big move down and more than a measured move with this trend line working up. You don't really have a close outside of it yet. You finally get that here, and then you run to a new high, and you would have had one short opportunity right here, but there was so much congestion I didn't like that one. And then you confirm the trend line. It's like a spike in channel, then you get a higher low, so by that time you need to start thinking long until something changes. And so right here you're still thinking short really. But notice what happens. You get that failed second entry short right there. It looks a lot like a reversal pattern, but I wouldn't take that trade. Not with that being the first close outside of this main trend line. I'd wait. And all of a sudden you get this double bottom and a second entry long. Again, you would be entering on an inside bar. It's almost the reverse of this right here. It is a second entry. Of course, your safety stop has to go below the low of the swing, so it goes down below this bar. Just like here, when you entered here, your safety stop had to go above this bar. So up here. And anyway, this turns out to be a great trade, but I'm only going to mark it green. I think it's a little bit risky because we've been all downhill and we're still looking for a retest of this low most likely. It does come back here, gives you a second entry long. If you had a good signal bar right here, I wouldn't be afraid to go long right there. My chart's not very good, but you do get a higher low here and you bounce off that trend line and break higher right here. I like going long right there. Another quick, easy scalp. You don't get any runners out of it or anything. And then all of a sudden we have this sell-off. And notice we're back inside. Here's your overnight lows. And notice how we're back inside that. Right here. You're getting back inside of it. I don't like going long. I wouldn't have a problem going long there if you had a nice signal bar, because we're looking to get long here. Somebody actually asked me about going short right here and want to know why it failed. Well, the trend is up right here. And that's the first break of, this is a spike in channel, so that's a pretty strong move. So that's the first break. So you're going to be looking for longs here until you get a reversal type pattern. And this looks a little like a reversal, but it's not. You'd want to see another attempt to go higher that then fails and turns back down, and it just keeps going higher here. You finally get a new high. You actually get a lower high here. You actually could have entered right here on this second entry short. I wasn't convinced that we weren't going to try to make another leg up, but when it tries to go higher again right here, you can enter. But you could actually argue for that one. I don't mind you entering either place there. I think they're both. This one's actually a second entry short though, and notice how it takes off then. And then you bounce down here. Look at that nice bullish bar. Notice you made that low. You tested it once. You tested it twice. I like going long right there because this is back inside this overnight support and it's holding. and you would hope it would take off higher again. It doesn't. It just kind of keeps chugging along till it gets in the 2 o'clock hour there. There's a nice second entry long when it breaks higher here. Notice that high, first entry, second entry, but that's a little bit late right there after 2 o'clock. So that's really all there was today. Not a whole lot. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades and a couple of green ones. And there's a couple other possibilities in here depending on what your chart looked like. So there's still plenty of trades. You had to be a little patient. There were a couple of good ones early on, so, and you might have had one, you might have had a better setup here too. So you might have had several early on. But I just about classify this as a range day. We had a little break, failed break higher right here, and then a bigger failed break lower, and then we just kind of went sideways. We rallied a little bit here, but really before 11 o'clock we were done for the day. I mean, there's still a couple of trades in here, but there's not much happening. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll come back and do it again tomorrow, but I'm done for today. Hope you had a good trading day. We'll see you tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.